Today in John Wesley's Journal is a podcast produced by the Wesley Center at Chattanooga, the United Methodist Student Center. In this podcast, we will learn about early Methodism by following John Wesley through his journal, as he and others begin a movement that would give rise to the Methodist Church in all its forms. So sit back and let's see what happened today in John Wesley's Journal. Welcome back to Today in John Wesley's Journal for October 21st, 1735. But before we get to John Wesley's Journal, let's look at some other things that happened on this day in Christian history. Today is the feast day of St. Hilarion, who died in 371. He is remembered as the founder of monasticism in Palestine. Most of all of what we know from him comes from St. Jerome. On this day in 1126, a stone church dedicated to St. Peter and St. Paul was consecrated at a monastery in Armagh, Ireland. James Pennington died on this day in 1870. Born into slavery, Pennington would eventually escape to Pennsylvania, where Quakers protected him and provided an education. After attending Yale, he became a pastor and a teacher. And yesterday, I forgot to mention the death of Philip Schaff on October 20th, 1893. Schaff was a renowned scholar of Christian history, writing many books, including a 3-volume collection on the creeds of Christendom. At the time of his death, he said, "I am a sinner and place my trust in my Savior who died for me." In his work on the creeds, Schaff said this about faith. Faith, like all strong conviction, has a desire to utter itself before others. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I believe, therefore I confess. There is also an express duty when we are received into the membership of the Christian Church, and on every proper occasion, to profess the faith within us, to make ourselves known as followers of Christ, and to lead others to Him by the influence of our testimony. And now, John Wesley's Journal for today, October 21st, 1735. Tuesday, the 21st, October 1735. We sailed from Gravesend. When we were past about half of the Goodwin Sands, the wind suddenly failed. Had the calm continued till ebb, the ship had probably been lost. But the gale sprung up again in an hour and carried us into the Downs. We now began to be a little regular. Our common way of living was this. From 4 in the morning till 5, each of us used private prayer. From 5 to 7, we read the Bible together, carefully comparing it, that we might not lean to our own understandings, with the writings of the earliest ages. At 7, we breakfasted. At 8, we were the public prayers. From 9 to 12, I usually learned German and Mr. Delamont Greek. My brother wrote sermons and Mr. Ingham instructed the children. At 12, we met to give an account to one another, what we had done since our last meeting and what we designed to do before our next. About 1, we dined. The time from dinner to 4 we spent in reading to those whom each of us had taken in charge, or in speaking to them severally as need required. At 4 were the evening prayers, when either the second lesson was explained, as it was always in the morning, or the children were catechized and instructed before the congregation. From 5 to 6 we again used private prayer. From 6 to 7 I read in our cabin to 2 or 3 of the passengers, of whom there were about 80 English on board, and each of my brethren to a few more in theirs. At 7 I joined with the Germans in their public service, while Mr. Ingham was reading between the decks to as many as desired to hear. At 8 we met again, to exhort and instruct one another. Between 9 and 10 we went to bed, where neither the roaring of the sea, nor the motion of the ship, could take away the refreshing sleep which God gave us. And now we return to our time. If you want to know more about what happened on any given day in church history, I would direct you towards christianhistoryinstitute.org. That's where I'm getting a lot of my information, and it's a really good one-stop shop for Christian history. And that is John Wesley's Journal for today. We will be back on the 24th with more from John Wesley's Journal. Have a good day.